You mentioned on the podcast recently that you went to Villa away undercover. Your kids enjoyed hearing he's big, he's red, his feet stick off the bed.
Yeah.
You're hoping to hear that again tomorrow, and how good's it going to be for your kids to be able to
Yeah, obviously, first and foremost, obviously, it's about the foundation and stuff, but my little boy's just taken a huge liking to Liverpool, and took him to his first game. It was actually Southampton was the game away, but he couldn't really see. But then we came outside and I was undercover for most of it because we were in the away end. But then, when we came out, I went to get a drink and obviously pulled the skies down, and then everyone started singing "He's Big, He's Red," and my little boy was the only song that he wanted to hear, and I said, "Look, you're not going to hear that today, because there's plenty more important things to do." But when he heard it, honestly, it made it see his face light up. He loved it. I had to leave pretty soon after that, but it was a good day.
Thanks, Archie. A source in the room tells me that you forgot your football boots, and Abby's in town in Sports Direct right now.
Did you seriously?
The sources are correct, yeah. No, do you know what happened? I looked at the weather and it was lovely today, and I've only got mould, so I thought if it is heavy rain, which was forecast, I thought
I'm mould only.
Yeah,
so.
are you?
Yeah.
I mean, most of the current players are, but I'm still a bit old school, and I just thought, just in case. So yeah, she didn't personally go, but she sent her mate to Sports Direct.
I'm sure there's knocking around here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, actually, I know Virgil's agent, and I thought he was the only one that potentially could fit me. But he's 11, not big enough.
Much are you looking forward to putting that red shirt back on tomorrow? See old foes in Chelsea.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a little Gerrard Crouch link up again?
Yeah, well, that would be nice. Obviously. I've got friends in both camps, obviously, but some of the lads I play with, I think Dirk's playing, and I've not seen any of the lads yet, but Dirk, Juicy, Sammy, Jersey, Sammy, Stevie as well, obviously, and he carried me, in the three years that I played here, so hopefully he can do the same again tomorrow.
Tash, you obviously do a lot of work with the foundation and stuff like that. You obviously really pride yourself in getting involved. You must be immensely proud to be back at Anfield tomorrow with the Legends.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, thank you to the foundation for making this happen. I think it's a big moment, I think, for the club, to be the first to involve a woman within the game. I think hopefully it will inspire, lots of young girls and boys that are at the game tomorrow. And I think it's a different type of feel to the Legends game. It's more of a family feel. So I think it just perfectly matches it. And for me, it's been 2 years, since I played a game. I've got a good record at Anfield, played there, scored in the Cop End, so hopefully I can do the same again tomorrow.
Natasha, is another example of women's football and how it's progressing and how it's developing? Obviously, this is your first woman to play for the Legends team. Is that another sign of where the game's going, really? Yeah,
absolutely. I say it. The younger Tash, I wasn't able to play football at school. In primary school, secondary school, girls weren't allowed to play football. So for me now, to be in this position as the first female ambassador of the club, and now for me, my task is to always try and be the first, the first to play in a Legends game, but hopefully not the last as well. So yes, selfishly, it's incredible. I can't wait. This is going to be the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. I've got all my friends and family coming up, but I'm doing this not just for myself, but in 5, 10, 15 years' time, hopefully this can be the next thing, and this can be something that we kind of really collaborate with in the future.
You've retired a lot more recently than some of the
pressure's on. Yeah, well, I've been marathon training, so I've definitely got the kind of lungs for it. Football fitness is a lot different. I can't say I've probably sprinted in 2 years, but now I'm ready to work hard for the team, whether it's 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm just going to enjoy it. And like I said, it'll be great to play with the likes of Peter. I'll definitely be working off his flicks maybe as soon as the ball goes up to him. And yeah, to play with the likes of Steven Gerrard, people that you've looked up to, and I've been involved with this club, I signed in 2013, and like I said, it's a pinch yourself moment, and one that I'm really going to soak it up today and tomorrow and make the most of it.
One for Peter. You've played for a lot of different clubs in your career. What is it that you think sets Liverpool apart? And is Liverpool?
Yeah, it's unbelievably special. I think it's amazing how many kind of ex-players end up supporting the club or want to be a part of the club. it's something really special. I think with the Forever Reds thing, obviously I did the golf day, that's why I was slightly late today, and you see the players that just always all feel connected, and I think that's to do with the club, obviously looking after the ex-players, but all the players I played with have a connection to Liverpool. I know I certainly do. I know I married a Scouser, which helps, but I definitely have a connection to the club, and always will. My boys support Liverpool. I'll take them to games, and they were kind of pushed into it a little bit, but they absolutely love it, and I'm very pleased that they do, because it gets for me, I can now be a part of it, and it'd be massive for me, for my little boy to see me he missed out. He's only 5, so for him to see me kind of pull on the red shirt again, play at Anfield, will be a huge moment for our family. Yeah.
And Crouchy, just one for me as well, please. It was mentioned just how many teams you play for, and I had a little look through not that the stats matter too much in terms of a charity game, but Chelsea, the team that you faced most in your career, you played 33 times against them. 9 goals, 5 assists. Are you looking to build on that tomorrow?
I thought it was going to be a hell of a lot worse than that. I'll take that. Yeah, God, I know, I'll take that. You know what I mean? I remember certainly when I was at Liverpool, Rafa always he always played me in the big games against Chelsea, and listen, that Chelsea team was a very, very good side, and we were lucky to get the better of them sometimes. But hopefully, I'd love to build on that. I'm glad it was slightly more than I thought it was.
Matt, just on the importance of these games, just what impact do these events have for you and everyone working behind the scenes, every year?
Yeah, I think it's our biggest event. I think in terms of impact, I think the question you asked about the difference with the clubs, I think the fact that we've got at the moment just over 59,000 tickets sold for tomorrow. I think we stand alone. I think it's us and Man U that run them regularly, but I think it's only ourselves and Real Madrid that sell out regularly. So I know we were talking about Spurs have got a game the next day, and I don't think they're in that unbelievable stadium, and I don't think it's at the same level of sales. So I think our supporters are at a different level. I was going down to the cup final last week on the train, and obviously the supporters getting on the train as we went down, and they were talking about bringing their kids to the Legends game. So I think it's an opportunity for kids that don't always get a chance to go to come. Tash was saying before the game, it's a different atmosphere. It's a younger audience, but fundamentally every pound we raise goes to support our work, and we know that there's a lot. It's a great place to live and work, but there's a lot of need in our city region. So we're going to use all the money raised this year to support health programs that we deliver and are delivered by others. So I think we can have a massive impact with that. I think people far cleverer than me do the working out of it, but it's for every pound that we raise, we turn it into about 14 quid's worth of social value for our community. So what does that mean? 40 million odd quid we could turn it into. So, but it's hugely important for us, and it's our biggest event of the year. Yeah.
Peter, it'll be 20 years this July that you signed for Liverpool. 6 weeks before you signed was the small matter of Liverpool winning the 5th European Cup in Istanbul. Do you remember where you was when you watched the game, and were you aware of any interest at the time? As I seem to remember you scored and ran a bit of a mock against Liverpool. That's it really, early on that season.
Yeah, I think that game at St Mary's was one of the reasons I signed, obviously, because it's Carragher and Hupio, obviously top class centre halves, and I did okay. But yeah, I remember where I was, because I was away with my first England squad, and we were in the US, and it was New York, I think, and obviously the games I had no clue that I'd be signing for the club after. That was one of the greatest European finals we've ever seen, and I was watching it with Joe Cole, and he was praying for AC Milan to win, and he was very pleased at half time, and it was obviously the way it unfolded was absolutely amazing. And then I had no clue at all that I'd have any be signing, but yeah, obviously I remember my agent calling me and just saying he's sitting down, and it was obviously an incredible thing to happen for me. And it took me a while to get my first goal, but thank God I got it off my back, and ended up thankfully, doing okay here, and at least to get invited back to a few games still, so can't have been that bad.
You scored against Everton and United in your time, so we're made up.
It's all right, yeah.
Peter, you spoke about the Chelsea rivalry.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, it was really intense.
Yeah.
Was it almost as intense as United and Everton for a couple of years?
I think so, yeah. I think there was so much with Mourinho and Rafa as well, it felt like there was a real kind of, and they were far ahead of us in the league, really. But it felt there was something special, as you know, there's something special about Liverpool and the European Cup and the Champions League, and it felt like we had that kind of edge over them. Even obviously I didn't play in Luis Garcia's goal, but I played in the lead up to Athens when Daniel Agger scored and then Dirk Kuyt got the win penalty. Just those games were just so special, and it was just the tiny moments that changed the course of history. And it felt like we did have one up on them in the European Cup, but they were ahead of us in the league by far.
And you've spoken about your affinity to Liverpool Football Club, but in terms of this game, it's actually the raise money for the people that how important is that for you? You mentioned your wife's a Scouser, kids, how important is that for you as well? Yeah,
massive. You know why? Because I've still got lots of friends in and around the city. I'm up here quite a lot. You know, visiting family and friends, and I see, you know, the work that's getting done. You know, it's down to the foundation in the city. Yeah, of course. You know, like most cities now, it needs help in areas, and the work that is done here. It's fantastic for us to play in a match at Anfield again. But obviously the bigger cause is obviously surrounding areas, and obviously they do so much work and all for the good. It's a great fun day out for the fans and for us as players, but obviously the bigger picture is the foundation.
Have you spoken to any of the players on either side, I suppose, on the Chelsea side? Have you spoken to any of them in the build-up to the game?
Yeah, I spoke to a couple. Obviously, I was with a few. I was with David James today, Neil Miller, Gary McAllister. John Barnes was at the golf day as well, so obviously spoke to all those. But the only one I spoke to, Joe Cole, he said he wasn't playing. Ashley Cole wasn't playing. But I spoke to Robert Huth, and obviously I was with him at Stoke, and I just said, please don't start kicking me around. Because, I've seen it firsthand, and he said as long as you don't do anything silly, then you won't get hurt.
Can I just ask one, just on the current Liverpool team, Peter, if you don't mind? I just wonder what your thoughts are in the moment about this season and when it's gone, because obviously it's been fantastic for a long time now, but the last maybe 2 weeks or so has been a bit of last week was a bad week. A couple of people asked me a few questions about just where the team are, if they need signing. I just wonder what your thoughts are, just in general, where the team is at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's been an unbelievably successful season. 1 week of football, doesn't determine. I think obviously, of course, it's not been a great week. Obviously Paris Saint-Germain, I think over the course of the 2 legs, even the staunchest Liverpool fan would say they probably deserved it over the course of the 2 games. I was at the Carabao Cup final, and again, it wasn't the Liverpool we've seen this season. But I mean, if you go back to the start of the season, he said you'd have a lead like this and you'd be out of the other competitions. Every Liverpool fan would have bit your arm off, and that's where they are now. And I think we need to take stock of that. I mean, after Jurgen left, the fact that Arne Slot's come in and done what he's done has just been a revelation. And I think everyone needs to be a bit calm about it and look at it in the positive way it should be.
Just finally for me, Matt, you mentioned earlier on sort of some of the initiatives you've got going on. You had the 5-year plan come out recently as well. Could you tell us a bit more about what sort of the plans are and what the hopes are for the next few years? Yeah,
so we sort of spent the last 5 years getting at it really and doing more, and we probably went at everything. So what we want to try and do now is focus, because I think there's a challenge when there's lots of need and you can see you can help. You try and do loads of things okay. So we're going to try and focus and do more of where we're going to have most impact. So we're focusing on health, learning and employment, because we think they're 3 areas where we can move the dial a little bit. Our 5-year strategy is quite ambitious. We worked with just under 130,000 people last year. That was us delivering and funding others to do. So we want to, basically, I gave a proposal to our trustees that by 2030 we could be working with 300,000. And they said, lovely, make it 500,000. So I thought, easy, yeah. So I don't know how we're going to get to the other 200,000 yet, but I think we will, because I think days like tomorrow show that. I think it is a special club and it's a different club. And the other thing that we have that sets us apart is, it doesn't matter if you're in Bootle or Boston, if you're a Liverpool fan, you feel passionately connected to the club. And I think that's the other thing that we shouldn't be ashamed of. We are we are, you know, we're a global club with supporters around the world. Our heart's here. This is where we do most of our work, but we want to do more internationally as well. So, yeah, growing, but growing with focus and trying to support more people and have more impact ultimately.
Natasha, as well, you mentioned earlier on to the biggest crowd you ever played in front of. Obviously, giving back and the foundation work is remarkable. But you, selfishly and personally, walking out tomorrow, being involved in any capacity, that's going to be remarkable. What are you most looking forward to?
Scoring. No. No. Yeah, absolutely the crowd. You know, I think 2010 when I won the FA Cup, I think that was 25,000. That's probably the biggest crowd I've played in front of. And, you know, having played for Liverpool and now being ambassador, I luckily get to go to every home game and to be a fan and to hear what it's like when you hear You'll Never Walk Alone. And it makes me feel like crying every single time. So I'm more excited right now, but I've got to admit that there's going to be a few little butterflies when you do walk out and see that kind of amount of crowds. But I also need to just strip it back and, you know, remember why I'm doing it. And again, not everyone would, I think, die to be in this position. So I just need to realise, you know, how lucky I am and make the most of it. And like I said, right now I'm enjoying being here doing this. I'm going to really enjoy meeting all the lads and joining in with training. And like I said, tomorrow it's going to be a really special day. And hopefully, like I said, bigger picture, but I also want to win. You know, we're athletes and we're competitive. And you know me, I'm a bad loser. So no, but really looking forward to it.